All right, well, we would like to now welcome to the stage Michael Neidorff. He's chairman and CEO of the Centene Corporation. It's an honor to have him here tonight. Huge supporter of TAPS, helped make this evening all come together. Pleasure and honor to have him. We have this here as the backup if you need it, sir.
On my back.
Okay, you got it. I will even, oh, it's stuck there.
Good,
Is that all
thank
right?
you. Yes. Good evening. At Centene and HealthNet Federal Services, our mission is focused on transforming the health and well-being of our nation's communities by serving those who serve our country in the armed forces, as well as supporting the most vulnerable of our fellow citizens who depend upon government-sponsored health care programs. My admiration goes out to Bonnie Carroll and the incredible network of support she has built around military families and all those who have lost loved ones on the front lines of service to our nation without regard to the nature, circumstances, or location of their loss. Through TAPS, the promise of our nation is to never forget those who make the greatest sacrifice is brought to life. And TAPS has enabled all of us to witness the power of simply walking side by side and listening. Thank you, Bonnie, for allowing all of us to be part of your journey. It is my privilege to share the stage with such resilient and inspiring individuals as the next speaker. Corbin Cabrera lost his dad, Army Lieutenant Colonel David Cabrera, in 2011 when he was hit by an IED in Kabul, Afghanistan. Corbin was only 13 at the time, and he is now honoring his father's sacrifice through his studies at Texas A&M University, his parents' alma mater. Ironically, while in the Army, Corbin's dad helped military families who suffered from the death of a loved one. After spending years attending TAPS Good Grief camps, Corbin has turned his grief into support for newly bereaved children, partially to honor his father, and partially because it helps him with his own grief journey. Please welcome Corbin to the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Neidorff. I appreciate your kind words. Congressman Mac Thornberry is usually referred to as chairman because he is chairman of the powerful Armed Services Committee in the House of Representatives. In that role, he is responsible for ensuring the strength and safety of our armed forces and helping us to find the money necessary to equip our troops for battle. TAPS is presenting Chairman Thornberry with the Honor Guard Gala Congressional Award because of his commitment to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, National Guardsmen, and their families. He has supported and enhanced benefits for surviving families through his leadership on the Armed Services Committee. As a fellow Texan, I am proud to introduce Chairman Mac Thornberry.
Well, thank you, Corbin. This is one time when a half Red Raider, half Longhorn is honored to be introduced by an Aggie. As y'all will understand, I appreciate very much the kind things that were said, but at the same time, I feel a little uncomfortable being up here. When one thinks about what so many families have sacrificed and what many others in this audience have helped provide and support, it's needless to say rather humbling. I will, though, say that I hope that all of the TAPS families here know that you have the undying gratitude and admiration of those of us in Congress and the vast majority of the American people because of what you have sacrificed for our nation. We try to make sure that the government responds appropriately, but the truth is the government just doesn't and won't be able to meet all the needs. So TAPS filling in the gaps, making those human connections, and meeting those real human needs is simply invaluable. So I too want to thank everybody here for supporting this very important organization. For me, I think it is my job, my duty, and certainly my honor to try to do everything I possibly can to support the men and women who are protecting our country and defending our freedom, including their families. The other side of that is, it is wrong on every level to send our best and brightest out on missions for which they do not have the best training, the best support, the best equipment that our country can offer. And I'll brag just a second and say, I think Congress is doing a little better with that here lately because of the budget agreement that we were able to get a few weeks ago. But I am very clear about who is in the leading role and who is in the supporting role when it comes to this effort. And I have to confess that sometimes it's not so easy to conduct independent, objective oversight over men and women of whom you're in awe. On the bookshelf in my office, I keep two things that mean a lot to me. One is a little red, white, and blue ribbon that I got at the Pentagon just a few days after 9/11 when you could still smell the smoke from the ashes. And right next to it, I have a dog tag that says, Sergeant Gary Johnston. It was given to me by his parents. Sergeant Johnston was a Marine from Windthorst, Texas, in my district, who was killed by an IED in Iraq in 2007. Now, I keep them there together along with the gavel I got when I became chairman of Armed Services to help remind me of the incredible sacrifice that some individuals and some families are making for our country, and also to remind me of the incredible evil that those sacrifices are working to protect us from. President Kennedy said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men it honors, the men it remembers." So remembering and honoring heroes, such as Sergeant Johnston, such as Corbin's dad, are important, yes, because it's the right thing to do, but also because of what it reveals about us. And our job then is to work every day to honor their memory by having a country that is worthy of their sacrifice and worthy of the values which they sacrificed for. What's also clearly true today is that the center of our military, in many ways, are military families. Admiral Hyman Rickover was, as you know, the father of the nuclear navy. It turns out he served in active duty longer than any other person in U.S. military history. He was on active duty for 63 years. Now, at his funeral, his wife wanted to make sure that there was a sonnet written by John Milton that was read during the service. And the last line of that sonnet is, "They also serve who only stand and wait. And I suspect that with 63 years of service, Admiral Rickover's loved ones did lots of standing and waiting. But as the families here know, waiting is usually harder than doing. Waiting for a loved one to return from a deployment, waiting for a spouse to recover from an injury, waiting for the pain of loss to ease, waiting even to be reunited across the grave. Survivors know about standing and waiting. Standing and waiting is honorable service for which our nation will always remember and for which our nation will always be grateful. Thank you.